Hi guys, welcome back to Compound, and today we've got our race recap for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix in Baku. And I've got to say, straight off the bat, Jack, this is probably my favourite race of the year so far. Would
Yeah,
you
I really
agree?
liked it. Yeah, it's a great race. It
And
was
in comparison to
heartbreaking Baku.
Monaco, it was incredible.
It's like I said last week, Baku's a better Monaco. You get the nice street circuit, different bits, well-designed track that obviously is not the history behind it, but yeah, it's a good track. I like it a lot.
I think it's
Do you
just
want to
that
start off with qualies?
it's but with the track though, it's like combination of having the tight twisty bits, the I am stupid,
Yeah,
and still having the straights where the cars can absolutely fly.
it's the fastest. Correct me, apart from Jeddah potentially, I think it's the fastest straight on any circuit.
Yeah, like I can't wait for next year where they can go even closer together around there because they'll be coming out of turn 15,
Yeah,
like ready to go on the straight even closer together, which is just going to be great. But
great
yeah, we can
watching.
start with qualifying.
So
Yeah, go on.
I was going to say another pole for Mr. Leclerc. That I was going to start
Yeah,
with.
it was weird again qualifying, not actually getting to finish. I don't know how many times we've had two races in a row where qualifying didn't actually get to conclude properly because cars going in the wall. It was also I was really disappointed that it didn't get to finish because I feel like it would have been a real mix because of the whole toe
Definitely.
situation. Um,
What,
Lewis
like
somehow
Gasly as
gone.
well, of his towing.
Yeah, Gasly as well, and like Lewis somehow managed to put it on second, considering he had such a poor weekend up to that point. In comparison to his teammate, he was
But that's sacrifice
incredible
from Valtteri. Valtteri sacrificed his lap, I think, from what the team told him to do. He sacrificed the lap to give Lewis the toe,
on
to
the
give
first
Lewis the
run.
boost
Yeah,
up, and then
it was meant to be the other way
it,
around, and then it never happened.
yeah, and then so to give it the return to get him back up there. Same with like Pierre. Pierre was meant to get a toe from Yuki. I think you were watching the laps go round, and if Pierre got a good toe off Yuki, he could have got up there as well.
Mm.
And then obviously Yuki went, "No problem, mate. I won't tow. I'll just put it into the barrier. You can start fourth."
Yeah, that wasn't bad.
You look through it, and it's just it's people that got caught out. Daniel Ricciardo caught out. You got George Russell who got caught out. They got into Q2, and then it's like, if you look at them, was it Esteban Ocon and Stroll that crashed out during qualifying?
Well, it was
No,
Stroll,
sorry, Giovinazzi.
Giovinazzi, yeah. But you say about Russell. Russell nearly didn't even he got lucky that people put it in the wall because it gave them more time to fix his car.
True. He was blessed by the first incident in qualifying one, but when he got to qualifying two, if you look
Yeah,
at it, the laps he did, okay, pinch of salt because obviously qualifying three never got to finish. Valtteri Bottas qualifying round three, fastest lap time was a 1:42.659.
hmm
George's fastest lap time was a what? Bear in mind this came into what he was 15th at this point. Was a 1:42.28, 1:42.728. So it's like within 3/4 of a second, if that off of it. Off of that, was that no? Almost like couple hundred of seconds in between them two.
yeah.
And yeah, obviously Valtteri did beat him, but Valtteri's in that thing. However, Valtteri's in a lot better car. The fact that doing quali laps and stuff, Valtteri's going 100th of a second faster than George Russell in a Williams. Obviously,
Yep.
before the red flags and stuff into a different strategy, maybe hadn't done his full laps yet. But you look at it and think, something's off here, mate. Like, you've either just committed to being number two driver, just there to give toes and fight people out the way for Hamilton.
Well, I
Like,
think in the race as well, there was a moment when Bottas was just going backwards. I remember you messaged me
yeah.
as it happened, and he was just getting overtaken by
He went under
seemingly
14th or something
everyone.
at one point. I remember messaging you, like, Valtteri's not only just done nothing for 40 minutes, he's now going backwards down the
Yeah,
grid.
but he didn't even look like he was trying to defend. He looked like he was trying to defend more in the race the other week when Lewis was trying to get past him and he'd been told
Yeah,
to let Lewis past. He looked like he was trying to defend more then. Like he just didn't look bothered at that point. And
almost more
then
defeated as a
yeah,
driver.
and then when he got up behind or was trying to get up behind Lando, he couldn't get anywhere near him.
No, he was struggling.
And like it looked at times like he didn't even have the toe, whereas like Lewis was getting behind people and absolutely flying. I know they're running different wings, weren't they?
Yeah.
This weekend, the
Lewis,
two
but that was
Mercedes.
through, allegedly from Mercedes, that was driver choice. So they were both given the choice this new different wing.
Yeah,
I think, one was basically lower rake but longer, and the other one was shorter but higher. So they're both more but on less in different directions. And Valtteri
Lewis,
preferred the other one.
Yeah, because Lewis's gave him more top speed, didn't it?
Yeah,
But then
but then the cornering
Bottas
was lessened. I think.
but Bottas was doing nothing in the middle sector with the cornering, like at
He
all.
was
Whereas
he
Lewis
was
was
struggling
making
going through Castle. Yeah,
whereas Lewis was making the most of the fact that he had a higher top speed because he was setting purple final sectors all the time,
yeah,
even without the toe at times. Like he was getting real close. And when he did have the toe as well, he like they were saying constantly, they were saying like, oh, he gained 0.6 of a second. Like he was making the most of it and putting himself in that
yeah.
opportunity to get the most out of the car, which there's a lot going around, and we've spoken about it before, but like there's a lot going around on Twitter about will it take until the end of the season?
I think it's going to, just because of was it Alpine offered a seat to George or something on that F1 interview? The team principals. They're like, "Oh, George, come sit with us." And then did you see the Aston Martin Twitter account tweet out, "Oh, we're happy to give George Russell a seat," because George, like when during the red flags, they were all stopped off parking. I think his car was like in front of their garage or something. I don't know why he was sat there, but he was just sat chilling on the pit wall, like the pit wall station with the big screen stuff, chilling at Aston Martin for some reason.
I saw that picture,
But yeah, going to obviously back up the red flag, obviously the end result of the race could have been a lot different if that second red flag hadn't started, because there was debate where obviously 2 laps left, the tyres were questionable, but you don't know what's happening with them. You're going out on cold tyres for a 2-lap race, safety concerns, lots of question marks and teams. And it would have been a completely different result, though, if it hadn't been
resumed.
Yeah, because in the current situation, correct me if I'm wrong, it's the most recent lap to have been completed driver lineup effectively. So Max would have still got him first, even though he crashed into the barrier.
See, I think that's really wrong in my opinion, because they completed laps under the safety car. So if that would have been the case, that would have been like daylight robbery. Because yes, okay, the tyres shouldn't have just like given up. I completely agree with that. And like in terms of safety and everything, like that's going to have to obviously be looked at. But at the same time, there are 18 other drivers who didn't push their tyres all of that way to the point where they do collapse. But
they're doing testing those tyres, and they don't think Pirelli was saying the tyres look fine. Basically, the Pirelli would point at the drivers and the team would point at Pirelli. But as Christian Horner said, there was no indication from the tyre that was going to give way. Like you see like a pressure loss or like a wear or temperatures.
Yeah.
There was no indication. GP just went onto the radio to Max and went, "Hi Max," yeah, cool, keep going. Like they were just normal conversation, and then it went as soon as he basically got off the radio.
Yeah.
There was no indication from the tyre. So I'll agree if the driver was going too hard or bad tyre management. However, you can't blame them for tyre management if there's no signs of the tyre getting near that limit.
See, I kind of disagree there, because if you're always like, they're always going to push the tyre as many laps as they can until it falls off the cliff, which they should do. I agree that you want to see them racing at the edge, and the quickest way to do it is to run the tyre for as long as possible, sort of thing, to minimise the number of pit stops. But at the same time, that is a risk that you take. It's like anything. You can't blame you can't blame the people that set up the track for the weekend because the curb's big and you run over it and break a suspension arm. Like, it's you've made the decision to drive over the big bit of the curb.
But if there's a level of, they've probably said this tyre, this is the window for the tyre, and you're still in that window.
Yeah, that I did find a bit dodgy.
Towards the upper end. Let's just say 30 laps on this hard tyre, and you're at lap 25. You shouldn't have to worry about it going at all.
Yeah.
Until you're past 30, because
like at Silverstone last year.
Yeah, exactly. When Hamilton pushed it, it went, but they kind of knew what was going on.
Yeah.
Whereas that 30 window should be, you could drive as hard as you want for 30 laps, then the degradation and the structural integrity starts going. It shouldn't be 30 laps, but you don't know how they test that 30 laps. It could be 30 laps at 30 miles an hour. There has to be reasoning why that 30 laps is that qualified amount, if that makes sense.
They made the compound softer as well for this year's race at Baku rather than last year's. They went down a grade. So, like they have the
C1, 2, 3.
Yeah. They dropped down a compound, so the soft, or the...
Was it the C2, C3, C4?
Yeah, even the hards were still softer than what they were last year.
That's interesting. But I mean, the tyres themselves are harder than last year. They're meant to be stronger than last year and more resilient.
That's probably why they thought they could get away with dropping them softer.
Yeah, potentially. People that obviously benefited from having these questionable tyre incidents happen. People like, I'm just saying, Kimi Räikkönen, He's finished 10th. There's nice points on the board for the Finn.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, again, you've got Ricciardo still in the points. He's not having a great time. He did look a lot better than he has at previous weekends because he's been putting a lot of training in the simulator. Literally, is all he's been doing apparently at McLaren headquarters. Has just been in the simulator constantly, just practicing and practicing, trying to get grips and relearn this whole new car. As you've seen most weeks. Yuki and Pierre for Alpha Tauri, amazing race for them. What did you think of Yuki's race towards the end? Like, obviously, he was battling Fernando Alonso, so you've got some of the oldest and the youngest fighting on the grid.
It's always like he always seems up for the fight, which I quite like to see. I loved, as everyone's already talked about, I loved his radio message where he told his team to shut up because he was trying to push.
Yeah, he's going to get told off by that though afterwards again. He's a fiery little guy.
Yeah, it's got to do what you got to do though. If you're one of those people that want, just silence so you can concentrate, the last thing you need is people shouting at you to go quicker. Like, I'm sure he's trying to go as quick as he can.
Faster next sector. It's like, that doesn't help you drive better unless it's important.
I think one person that they would have been expecting to, make a lot out of the red flags would have been Lewis.
Yeah.
It's a marathon, not a sprint. But there is also a corner that you need to make.
Marathon, not a sprint, but obviously in marathons, you do need to slow down and do pace control. And when your pace isn't controlled and you go flying off a corner, it's kind of a bit of a sticky one for you.
Yeah, not
hit
the magic button.
Still came back and placed higher than Latifi. So, like, you've got, just look at the bottom of the grid there. It's a really weird mixture of people. You see Valtteri Bottas into Mick Schumacher, Mazepin, and then Hamilton. And then Hamilton, Latifi, Russell. So that's Russell, obviously DNF. I don't know if it's technically DNF, but it was last lap on the restart. He pulled into the pits because he was getting a gearbox issue.
Mm-hmm.
Latifi obviously got penalised because of his. Everyone was told to drive through the pit lane for the lap because Max obviously had crashed in the straight. Latifi went down the straight and gained 2 places past Russell and Bottas, and that questionable situation there anyway. But going up, you've obviously got that weird middle area where Mazepin's beating Hamilton, which I'm sure the Russians love that. Daniel Ricciardo again. Lando Norris I want to talk about because
he could have had an absolute shitter.
I mean, also
qualifies well, gets demoted down the grid because of the
P9.
Because of the what was it? Speeding up under the red flag.
Yeah, and didn't he get told off again? Or was it the red flag because you were meant to go into pits from a red flag? So when your red flag comes out on your earliest opportunity, you have to come into the pits. And he was going down the straight, which we all know is the fastest part of the circuit and one of the fastest parts of the track. Yeah. And he was going in, and he was ready to his team. Shall I come in? Shall I come in? Shall I come in? No, stay out, because he was terrified of coming into the pits at too high a speed. If you're going too fast, you get a penalty for coming in at 70 if you're not under the pit speed limiter is at that time. Coming in at an unsafe speed, causing dangerous hazards. So he stayed out, went around again, and then came back in. Obviously, lost 3 points, and I think got penalty points as well for that. Even though I think, in my opinion, that was him just being safe, and he wasn't exactly causing damage. He didn't want to come into a pit lane at a silly speed, which he'd potentially be uncontrollable at and hit someone.
Yeah.
Which I think is a bit unlucky for him to start in P9. But Daniel Ricciardo in P9.
He loved the sprint race, though.
Yeah. I think that was his last at Silverstone. Was it next one Silverstone with the sprint race for the first one?
I think the first sprint race is going to be Silverstone, which is a couple of races away.
I've been loving it in Formula 2 so far, watching the sprint races happen.
We've got the month that the Euros is on as well is race weekend every weekend, I believe.
Football and
F1 just constantly.
What a lucky time to have a football and F1 channel.
Yeah.
Shall we wrap up with the 1, 2, 3, the finishes that no one thought would. If you put 20 quid down for the predictions for this week, I doubt someone's gone Perez, Vettel, Gasly as their 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, I was really happy to see Vettel at the top, there.
He had a great race.
He did really well. He did what he had to do, put himself in a position where, because he was outside of the top 10, he had the choice of tyre, which probably actually ended up helping him. Yeah. He went along with the tyre, got lucky, I guess, that didn't have any tyre failure, and kept his car in the right place. for the end.
Well, he started P11, finishes second. Very good race for him.
He missed out on Q3 by something ridiculously small margin, less
Have
than
a look, shall we?
0.07 of a second.
Yeah.
So
that's horrendous. The pain you must feel when you missed out by that tiny margin.
I think that is what got him onto the podium, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like if he hadn't have done that, he wouldn't have been able to go long on that first run, or as long, and wouldn't have put his car in that position where, he gets lucky with other people crashing and whatever, and red flags and stuff, and safety cars. That he was then able to be up there. So fair play to him.
And again, Perez, amazing race. He's not the most aggressive. He's not going to send it as hard as Max or do as risky or strong moves as Max, but he's there. He's reliable.
Yeah, I think we're seeing that over the last couple of races. He's got his car up there, and it's almost roles have been reversed because a couple of weeks ago, Bottas was up there with Lewis, and they were pressuring Verstappen because it was 2v1, and now it's the other way around. Lewis is on his own trying to fight against them and can't do anything. Because
it's strategy, like we were saying, strategy's hard when it's 2 versus 1 because you can't plan around it.
You can't split the team. Yeah, and I mean Perez was bloody unlucky not to come out in first anyway after the pit, because he had an absolute storming in lap, and had the pit gone with a Red Bull like 1.9 seconds, which they can do and have done many times, he would have come out ahead of Verstappen. Like he was miles ahead of Lewis. But
talking about Red Bull pitting. I'm not saying this is tactical, but it's very convenient how Hamilton got held up in the pits by Pierre Gasly.
That
was just like, it looked like Horner had gone on the pit wall. Can you release him like a second later? Yeah, sure. Okay, why? You'll see. Just like blocked Hamilton. It was like perfect.
Yeah.
All the stars aligned kind of today for Red Bull. Not necessarily in some aspects because they lost Max. For me, on Fantasy F1 was my Mega Driver that weekend, so that's my Mega Driver token gone. But hey ho.
But it's the best thing that could have happened in terms of Lewis.
And for the championships.
If Verstappen isn't going to be able to get any points, the first thing that'll want to happen was, okay, right, we don't want to lose the position to Lewis here, otherwise, they'd be in big trouble with the constructors. But they're looking good.
I just saw Mercedes got no points. I was thinking, because obviously Hamilton dropped out. I just looked back at the thing. Mercedes got no points.
Mm-hmm. No points.
Not even one. Mercedes got no points.
No. They had 2 Alfa Romeos finish ahead of them.
I saw a stat. When was the last time Lewis didn't start a race and finish in the points? It must be like over 50 races now.
60-something races, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's ridiculous. And now they have 0 points for Mercedes.
Mm.
You got people like Alfa. You got Kimi Räikkönen out there. Get Kimi in the seat. Well, that was our Baku wrap-up. I hope you enjoyed it. We've got some more content coming your way soon. A bit different to our stuff. Got stuff about the Euros and a bit more F1 in-depth stuff coming your way. So if you like that stuff, hit subscribe. I've been Jack. That's been Charlie. See you later. Bye.